Let's also tell you that the Human Rights Watch has warned politicians and political parties to stop using issues of illegal foreign nationals as pawns in hope to score in votes. Immigration in South Africa has always been a problem, with individuals and parties like the likes of the Patriotic Alliance calling for the mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. Human rights research has called on the Independent Electoral Commission to condemn harmful rhetoric directed towards foreign nationals. It urges the IEC to enforce the Electoral Code of Conduct to address the issue. Now joining me on the news at this time to shed more light on this is human rights researcher Norma. Thank you for your time. Now the issue of political parties using undocumented immigrants as scapegoats in South Africa is not a new thing. In the past, we've actually seen this happen and sending some sort of very unpleasant undertones like xenophobic attacks and what have you. I'd like to know your reaction to that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct, Dapo. I think for years, South Africa has been grappling with sporadic and sometimes lethal xenophobic harassment and violence targeted against African and Asian nationals living in the country, including refugees, asylum seekers, and both documented and undocumented migrants. We've also seen, the rise of vigilante groups that have routinely been recorded targeting, harassing foreign nationals who own businesses and violently preventing foreign nationals from accessing healthcare in public hospitals and clinics. I think thirdly, it's important also perhaps to underscore that, in the run-up to the elections, we've also seen a surge in service delivery protests in the country where citizens are angry, they're frustrated and really disillusioned and facing all manner of socioeconomic challenges and just lack of basic services within their communities, particularly in lower income communities. So I think it's important to foreground that when we're talking about, anti-immigrant rhetoric in South Africa, it's occurring under these circumstances. It's not occurring within a vacuum. And therefore, if we're in a context where we've seen, sporadic violence in the past, large-scale outbreaks of xenophobic violence, and we know there's a general tensions that often exist between locals and nationals. When those in authority and those that are running for office are spewing such rhetoric, it's incredibly harmful and incredibly problematic and has the potential to incite violence as we head to the elections later on in the month.
Why do you think this has become the norm over years, using immigrants as, what I call it, campaign pawns to win support? Why do you think politicians usually explore that route?
Well, I think, in South Africa, I think for me, it comes down to kind of the socioeconomic challenges that South Africans are confronting. And the fact that politicians are aware of South Africans' frustrations and disillusionment when it comes to just accessing basic services. We have the triple burden of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. The official unemployment rate in South Africa at the end of last quarter, of 2023's fourth quarter rather, was at 32%. And the unemployment rate among young people aged 15 to 24 was sitting at 59%. We have an energy crisis, a water crisis, high crime rates, high food and fuel prices, a weakening rand, issues of substance abuse, and really just a myriad of socioeconomic challenges. And I think that's what, politicians are using and scapegoating foreigners in the country, in particular, looking at undocumented migrants in the country as scapegoats for all these issues. But the reality, Dapo, is that if all the migrants in South Africa were to leave tomorrow, our problems would not go away in South Africa. And so I think, foreign nationals are kind of this low-hanging fruit that can be instrumentalized by voters. They can be, instrumentalized by South African citizens as well as a way to sort of lash out their frustrations. But we know that that's not the solution to go. The authorities need to take accountability for the socioeconomic challenges we're confronting in the country, and certainly including the challenges that we're confronting in terms of border management and control and just the issues of irregular migration that are a legitimate concern.
All right, Norma, before I let you go, now for political parties and individuals, are there legal steps that can be taken against them? And the Human Rights Watch, what is your role in ensuring accountability, or rather to keep these particular incidents like this in check?
Well, I mean, I think, the Electoral Code of Conduct is very clear and unambiguous about, language that incites violence. And we know the IEC aims to promote conditions that are conducive to free and fair elections and in creating a climate of tolerance, of free political campaigning, and really public debate. And I think we need to see the Electoral Commission in South Africa kind of speaking more authoritatively and more plainly about the issue of incitement of violence in the country that we're seeing from a number of political parties, and actually ensuring that those political parties that are not adhering to the code of conduct are disciplined.
Thank you so much for your time, Norma.
Thank you.
All right, now still on the news at this time, the NK Party's founder, that's Jabulani Khumalo, has written to the Independent Electoral Commission to urgently remove the Jacob Zuma as the party's face-in president. In a letter, Khumalo said Jacob Zuma occupied both positions through fraudulent and illegal maneuvers. It says the plan was for Zuma to only campaign for the MK as he assisted in contributing and raising funds for the registration. This step by Jabulani comes after he was expelled as a member of the party together with other 4 members.